All right, YouTube, here we go.
To get your audiobook, or you can read it. A book about the next world war, a peaceful war. It's GSBN, Global Sports Broadcasting Network.com. Streaming live
Here we go.
on GSBN and Facebook Live.
All righty, welcome. Welcome back to Global Sports Broadcasting Network. I'm your host, Cornelius Brad Hanna. Tuesday, Super Bowl week one. We're going to talk about the game, the comparisons of statistical numbers between the 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Joe Montana guarantees a win in Super Bowl 54. We'll talk about that and why he said it, and all the hyped up NFL news that's going on with other teams and also with other teams around the NFL with their free agencies and quarterbacks that are going to be elsewhere too. And the injury report, not a big injury report for Super Bowl 54, very small, maybe nothing. Incredible, unless something happens between now and then. Baseball, we're going to dabble back into the scandal, the cheating of stealing signs. The Houston Astros player reaction now is gotten really rampant over the last week, and we'll talk about that. The Baseball Hall of Fame, big announcement today. Who gets to go in? Derek Jeter may have an unanimous vote to get into the Hall of Fame, but there's other ones out there too. We'll break it down, how you get in, how much votes you need to get in, things like that. The announcement is at 6 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock in the desert, and 3 o'clock on the West Coast there in Pacific time. All right, now let's get back to it. Let's say hello to people welcoming in. This is Hanna Time, the show, Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host, Cornelius Brad Hanna, live on YouTube, live on Facebook, and also on Global Sports Broadcasting Network.com, the live stream. Check it out if you can. All right, let's pop it in. Let's go. Guaranteeing Super Bowls. The last time, or one of the times there was a Super Bowl in Miami, Joe Namath guaranteed a Super Bowl win for his New York Jets. Now another Joe Montana, guarantees a Super Bowl win that's being played in Miami. Why is this a big news? Well, it's not. It's fun. Montana will definitely be a focus of media attention all week and the next 2 weeks because of really one big reason. He played quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, and he won 4 Super Bowls as the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. But he also played quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs and nearly got them into the Super Bowl. His heart is in 2 places, deeply with San Francisco, but he cannot and will not ever forget his time with the Kansas City Chiefs. Joe Montana came out. He guarantees a win. Well, what team is he talking about? And will he let us know what team he predicts will win? Or he just knows that one of his 2 teams that he played for will win. And that's pretty much how I take it too. Joe Montana says it's hard to pick between these 2, right? Montana said to the Sam Farmer of the Los Angeles Times, yeah, we live here in San Francisco, so there's a little bit of a different feel. Just because you don't have that much touch with the Kansas City Chiefs and their fans in the city itself. All the time, though, he said. But there is a place in my heart for both of them. Kansas City was so good in accepting of us coming in. It's not easy, and there's a lot of expectation. But like my wife, Jen, says, I guarantee my team will win. He means either one. Either one. There are other known players that have played for the Chiefs and the 49ers. Currently, Alex Smith, quarterback, the San Francisco 49ers, had a nice run there. Then went on to the Kansas City Chiefs and had a nice run with the Chiefs. Also, Elvis Grbac, Remember Elvis? He quarterbacked both teams. Steve Bono, another one that went from the Niners to the Chiefs. Also, D Ford, the current player who is now on the San Francisco 49ers, played for the Kansas City Chiefs, going up against his old team, his former team. That also has a storyline to it. For Joe Montana, a good week for him. Going to celebrate both teams, and whoever wins, I'm sure he's going to be happy. So Joe predicts a guaranteed win. But let's talk about what's going to be guaranteed or not. Is the statistical numbers for Super Bowl 54, and this is a big deal. How do you break down this game? And when you look at the numbers for Super Bowl 54 in Miami on February 1st, or the first Sunday in February, gosh, my dates are screwed up, is this: points for and points against. The 49ers have scored 30 points a game. They average that. So has the Kansas City Chiefs. Both these teams put up 30 points on the board. So everything indicates for it to be a high-scoring game. Passing yards per team per game, the 49ers only 221 yards, while the Kansas City Chiefs at 284 yards. So they throw the ball, they complete more passes. But running the football, there's a big difference there. This time it favors the 49ers. They average 154 yards a game running the football. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs do pretty good. They're averaging 100 yards a game. That's really good for any team. That helps you balance your offense attack. So they're effective running the football. But so are the 49ers, and they're better doing it. Passing the football, both teams are good. Slight advantage for the Chiefs in that category, and slight advantage for the 49ers in the running game. So where is the breaking point? Third down conversions for the offense, both teams. The Chiefs are at 48% completing and getting the first down on third down. For the 49ers, not too bad, 45%. Just a little bit down, but still relatively equal so far. Both these teams have equally balanced out. This is a good matchup so far, right? Red zone. Teams in the red zone, scoring points in the red zone, right? How many times do they get into the red zone? The Chiefs get into the red zone 59% of the time. 59% of the time. While the 49ers, 45% of the time. Both these teams, 54. 54% of the time. So both these teams, more than half or a little more than half of their possessions, they're getting into the red zone. That means they're putting points on the board. That means they're scoring. That means a lot of good things are happening on offense. Their average point total allowed. Points allowed. Okay? On defense, the 49ers defense is giving up per game 19 points a game. The way we talk about them, you think it'll be a lot lower. I think it's lower in the way of all their injuries. Now they're healthy, that number probably would have been a lot lower during the regular season. For the Chiefs, they've gotten better and stronger on defense in the last 2 months. They're giving up 20 points a game. Again, equal. Both teams equal. One by a little here and there, but equal. How about passing yards allowed on defense per game? Passing yards allowed on defense per game. The Kansas City Chiefs defense giving up 228 yards against the pass per game. The 49ers, 174 yards in the air. They're giving up on defense. Passing yards allowed on defense, 174 yards. Advantage, 49ers. Rushing yards allowed on defense. The Chiefs are giving up 124 yards on defense. Allowing the other team to run the ball. 124 yards per game. Pretty good number. On the other side, a little disturbing in a way because you would think it would be a lot lower, but the 49ers defense is giving up 105 yards per game running the ball. Teams are running the ball and are getting over 100 yards. Again, I believe the Niners defense is a little better with those numbers because of their injuries. And for what I see, those numbers will be lower. But at this point, in comparison of both teams' numbers statistically, okay, if you want to look at it the statistical manner, all right, the Chiefs are getting 100 yards a game running the ball. The 49ers are giving up 100 yards. So I see the Chiefs able to get their running game going. At some point, it'll be enough. You would think. You would believe that. But so were the Green Bay Packers. And that didn't go well. Let's go one more number here on defense, right? And this is a good one. Third down. Third down conversions for your opponent. Okay, third down conversions. Okay. Third down conversions on defense allowed. Kansas City Chiefs have allowed 37% third down conversions, while the 49ers defense is allowing 32% on third down conversions. Relatively the same, close enough to say a tie, but it's not. It's still a little bit better on defense for the 49ers. They continue to show a better defense from the last 3 or 4 numbers I've put up there for you. Turnover ratio, pretty much even. The Chiefs at a +8, while the 49ers have a +7. That means each team is taking the ball away at a pretty good rate, at a high rate. That's going to be a big deal in the Super Bowl. Who can get the turnover? Who can get the ball back? Who can cause the fumble? Get the interception? Block the punt? Block the kick? Make things happen. As of right now, as breaking all these numbers down, if you were following me on this, there is an edge going to the San Francisco 49ers on defense, because the defense is where it's going to be won and lost. You're going to have to make stops. The Chiefs can make stops. The only thing that I see that can actually favor the Chiefs is that their offense is putting up big numbers, bigger numbers than the 49ers offense. So the 49ers offense still has to produce points, still has to get it in the end zone, still has to have big plays on offense. Can they find it against a good defense in Kansas City? Kansas City defense is going to hold its own. So when the Niners defense is doing its job, on the other side, you may get the same result, where the Niners offense cannot make big things happen. The running game, that is good, and it is a dominant number of 154 yards a game. But if you look at the run defense of the Kansas City Chiefs, the big number, they're giving up 124 yards a game. By that alone, separates these two teams. The Kansas City Chiefs are giving up 124 yards a game running the ball. They are allowing other teams to run 124 yards, while, again, the San Francisco 49ers, 154 yards. That's probably going to happen again, meaning the 49ers are going to be able to get their yards per game. They may not have 200 yards like they did against the Packers, but they're probably going to get easily 120 to 150 yards. If that's said, that may be the detrimental point for the Kansas City Chiefs, because time of possession, keeping Mahomes off the field, can the Chiefs find ways to slow down that running game and challenge Garoppolo to throw the ball? Garoppolo has to make plays. The Chiefs are going to find a way to slow down that running game and neutralize it and force Garoppolo to be the hero. He can be the hero. He's good enough to be the star. But he also throws interceptions. And the more he throws, the more he'll throw one. or two. That's the other side of it. But Garoppolo could put up 4 touchdowns and compensate for the other side. So it's a mismatch in some way with the running game. But on the other side of the ball, can the 49ers offense do its job against the Chiefs defense? That's not too bad. It's pretty good. And also Mahomes. Keeping Mahomes and that offense with Andy Reid quiet is not going to be easy. Not going to be easy. They got a lot of big speed in Kansas City that can get down the field, stretch the field. Going to be very interesting. We'll break it down more, but I hope you follow along there. More fun numbers about this. So how about this if you're a Eagles fan, 49ers fan? And how about a team that's looking for a new head coach? If you are Chip Kelly and you went to the Philadelphia Eagles, and if you're Chip Kelly and you also were the head coach for the San Francisco 49ers, eventually those teams won the Super Bowl. The next coach that came in there, ends up winning a Super Bowl. Chip Kelly leaves the Eagles end up winning the Super Bowl. Now San Francisco has a chance. Chip Kelly gets fired, no longer the coach, and now the Niners are in the Super Bowl. So if you want to hire somebody in a comical, funny way, Chip Kelly. Maybe something Chip does may not be the great coach on the sidelines, but something that he does may be just part of this DNA of what has happened in the past with the last two NFC champions. Okay? You got to like it, though. All right? Here we go. Moving on. Love them or hate them, the New England Patriots, get a lot of attention. Over the weekend, the numbers, the TV ratings overall were down. The NFC and the AFC championship game, their numbers were down. Now, people like to buy into this a little bit, and a lot of it's being known on the internet. But they're taking everything, not just TV. They're taking all internet, electronic device calculations. Okay, so this is becoming more raw, real numbers, I should say. All right. So the Kansas City Chiefs AFC Championship game victory, okay, a year ago against the Patriots, when they lost to the Patriots, was a 54 million people. Right? Patriots win the Super Bowl and the overtime thriller in the AFC Championship game. To put that into perspective, that game was prime time Sunday night. Sunday night was the Packers and the 49ers. Same time slot, same everything. Okay? The audience drew a 42.7 million viewers. That's a lot, but it doesn't overtake the 54 million from last year. Is that a Tom Brady thing? Is that a Patriot thing? Very possible. Or was it the 49ers blowing away the Packers early that people started turning off the TV set? And a lot of people did. And I think you have to consider that because it was 27-0 at halftime, and a lot of people started to turn off the TV set at that point. So you can look into that. Numbers down a little bit. All right, if you're a anti-referee, anti-official, I cannot believe referee, you did not make that call. If you're a, oh my gosh, you threw the flag on that kind of fan, Bill Vinovich is now one of the referees that will be part of Super Bowl 54. Who is Bill? Who is Bill Vinovich? He is the one that has the no-call referee label in the Saints-Rams debacle, no-call pass interference that should have been from a year ago. He's made it to the Super Bowl. He must be a good one, at least to get that far, because the rating system of how they do it, I don't know, has to get him there. But he also is the one that blew and kind of created a lot of knee-jerking reaction all over the football world, especially with rule changes. So he's back. He's in the biggest game. Okay, he wears number 52, the referee. You want to keep your eye on him. I think a lot of people are going to watch the referees. They're a big part of the game now. I think a lot of people didn't want referees to be a part of the game, the headlines of a game, and I believe um, he'll be fine. It's a talking point. All right, Norma Hunt. She is the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Or the late husband of hers, Lamar Hunt. All she knows is NFL football. Since her marriage, in love with Lamar Hunt, who owned the Kansas City Chiefs, who came up with the term Super Bowl. Really, the Super Ball, meaning the bouncy ball that you can throw into the ground and would skyrocket into the sky. That was a big popular toy. Was the Super Bowl back in the days, back in those early days. And the term Super Bowl was converted into the Super Bowl. Lamar Hunt coming up with that. But also the AFC Championship trophy is the Lamar Hunt trophy, named after him. But Norma Hunt, the wife of the late Chiefs owner Lamar Hunt, has attended all 53 Super Bowls. Yes, she was there for Super Bowl one when the Chiefs lost to the Packers. Yes, she was there for Super Bowl four when the Chiefs won their Super Bowl. And now she's still there, still living, still kicking. And God bless her to be there one more time in Miami, but was able for the first time to celebrate the Lamar Hunt Trophy as AFC champions to get to the Super Bowl. Very special time for one of the longevities of wives. There's only a handful left, folks. I think there's like 5. She's one of them. There's only a handful left of these wives who have been around for decades. God bless her. And, let's see what happens with the Chiefs. One of the longest streaks attending Super Bowls in Super Bowl era herself. The Chiefs were presented with the Lamar Hunt Trophy that was 36 years ago that was acquired the name. So the Chiefs itself have never been able to get that trophy. They've been in the championship game for the AFC. So special time, special place to be in Kansas City. Well, let's talk about the Bay Area. The city by the Bay. Steve Perry sang about it. City by the Bay. How about the booming times in the Bay Area? Can we look at the Bay Area in the last 10 years as being a very unique place for a sports fan? Back in 2010, the San Francisco Giants won a World Series. They won it again, the Giants of baseball, in 2012. And then the 49ers end up in the Super Bowl in 2013 and lost. Almost won it. Last play. Then 2014, the San Francisco Giants won another World Series. And then in 2015, who was it? The Golden State Warriors winning the NBA championship. Then in 2016, it's the Warriors again. 2016, same year, the NHL Hockey Stanley Cup, San Jose Sharks make it to the Stanley Cup. 2017, Golden State Warriors back in the NBA Finals. 2018, Golden State Warriors. 2019, Golden State Warriors. And now in 2020, San Francisco, the city by the bay, the fans in the area have another team in a championship game or a championship series, the 49ers. It's been a good run. For 10 to 11 years, there's the city by the bay, the fans in the Bay Area have a lot to celebrate, have gotten to championships. It's a good time to be in that area. Good time to be there. So you got to think about that. Think about that city, the sports city itself. I don't think a lot of people realize that. I don't think. How about tickets to the Super Bowl? They keep on getting crazy. These numbers for the Super Bowl. Oh, can you? Yesterday we talked about the cheapest ticket being what, $4,000 for the upper deck, like the worst section, say. So based on the returns, Super Bowl 2020, right? Super Bowl 54 is one seriously hot ticket. The average ticket sold, the average ticket sold since the announcement of the 49ers and Chiefs Super Bowl, February 2nd, is $6,785, according to ticket platform SeatGeek. The average resale price overall for the game is 6,232. That is incredible. People are reselling their tickets. They buy it for face value and make astronomical numbers on a return of $6,232 on an average. The current get price is roughly 5,000 or $5,500. So it's well over 5 grand now to get to watch this Super Bowl in person. SeatGeek traffic numbers show an even split though. 18% from California, 18% coming from the Kansas and Missouri area. In general, though, SeatGeek manager Chris Layden said it's a record-breaking demand, though. It seemed like, well, it is, I should say, about 20% hotter than they anticipated, meaning it's a hot ticket, 20% hotter than what they've seen before. Layden, the manager, communications manager of SeatGeek, said this. Also, two other factors are involved. One are the two fan bases have not won in recent time. The 49ers were the last champions in 95, the Chiefs 1969. Another factor, though, in this site is the game itself in Florida, the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, once known as the Joe Robbie Stadium, the once owner of the Miami Dolphins, is one of the smaller NFL stadiums, though. The holding capacity is 65,326. So less seats, less people showing up. So the rating of the game and the rating of the ticket price and the demand goes up. But $5,000 now is the lowest price, going way above that. Somebody sold a ticket for $6,785. Where was that seat? Where is it, man? Is it the 50-yard line at the suite level? Club level? Like, where is that seat? I've been in that stadium. There is really no bad seat in that house. It's a beautifully designed football stadium. They did play baseball there. The Marlins did. But it's a football stadium. And it's a great place, a great city to hold the Super Bowl. And that's the other destination. It's Miami. And Miami can party. Miami can rock. Miami can rock and roll. It is a fantastic place for a Super Bowl. It always has been. It always, from the very first or second Super Bowl, Super Bowl II, it's seen so many great Super Bowls. The city of Miami is doing it again, and it rocks, man. It truly rocks. There's really, you don't sleep. You better find sleep. You're sleeping on the beach the next day. And if you're working the Super Bowl in Miami, I'll tell you this, because I've done it. You got to get up and go out to the press conferences and anything that is newsworthy or set up by the NFL for the media to attend. If not, you're missing out. And if you're there, are you working or you're playing? But man, you're looking for that one day to get on the beach and just take a nap. But then you wake up with that serious Florida, Miami sunburn that is unlike any sunburn you're ever going to get. It's the Caribbean atmosphere itself down there in South Florida, down there by Miami is incredible. You got burnt seriously within 1 hour, a half hour. You got to watch it. So don't fall asleep in Miami. I've seen people wake up with long sleeves on the beach, and they have sunburn from their wrist down to their fingertips because their hands were exposed. And it looks like the funniest red glove hand you'll ever see. I've seen it. Crazy suntans. You'll see the wackiest suntans because what you're wearing is not enough in that sun. It is brutal. It's great, but you don't have to stay in it long. Find a tree, find an umbrella if you're going down there. My recommendation. All right. All right. Now let's say hi to some people popping in. I appreciate you. And we got MD Max, we got Sean, we have Joe Moreno, we got Billy in the house. Good morning to you, Sean Mack. Helen Guerrero on the house. Hello, Helen. Thank you for popping in. Todd in the house. Stuart, Jeff Brown, Veronica, MD Max. Montana played both. Yes, he did. Todd says, good morning. And Mahomes is a good quarterback, but overrated. What do you mean by that, Todd? Explain. Randy, Dwayne, Terrence Jones, thank you for popping in. Super Bowl is rigged because the NFL wants the Chiefs to win so they can go prove Mahomes Mahomes conspiracy. You're going there, Todd. All right. People think these things, and it's very possible. Very possible that some players and teams get some benefits when they have the hot star, the superstar. This is the NFL trying to prove how good these quarterbacks can be, and they put them on the pedestal and they brag, and I get that. We've seen it. Dawn in the house, Dan in the house, JT Houlihan, Noreen McCartney in the house from Brooklyn, Stephen Harris, Brent Goffin from the Australia area, Felix and Denise Smith from San Francisco. Felix in the house. Good morning, my man. Danny Rogers. Denise says, good morning. What is it? 4:15 in the house. Oh, what does it mean, 4:15? Explain that. Todd, gotcha, buddy. Denise says, San Francisco. Oh, I get you. All righty, fellow Cardinal fan. I get you. Jamie, Jaime, Levon, Angel, Yotis, gosh, Jerry, Giovanni, Howard in the house, Fleischman in the house, Joe in the house, John Cobus in the house. Hey, John. Kobe in Jersey, and Sean and Giovanni in the house, to name a few. I miss some of you at the top. I appreciate it. Let's move it on. Got more Super Bowl breakdown. We went through the city by the bay. How about some NFL news about other teams besides the Super Bowl? Odell Beckham underwent successful surgery to repair a core muscle injury. Got a lot more to worry about than that, but he makes news the wrong way, that guy, doesn't he? Juju Smith-Schuster could be a free agent next year, and the Steelers have not extended him yet. And Steelers owner Art Rooney said the organization will address the Juju Smith-Schuster contract situation when appropriate. Steelers don't like extending players until later in the year, closer to camp. Jim Cardwell is now looking for a job. The former head coach and former coach of the Dolphins is ready to coach again in 2020. Will not return to the Dolphins, he said. Oh, is not returning. Tevin Coleman, San Francisco 49. This is probably the only big serious injury of the two teams. Kyle Shanahan said Tevin Coleman suffered a dislocated shoulder in the NFC Championship game against the Packers. Shanahan said Coleman got it popped in and has a chance to play in Super Bowl in 13 days. Okay. Raheem Mostert, just was dominant, but the 49ers like to have a balanced attack of running backs. It's really by committee, and Mostert is a great one too, but really he was a journeyman running back, 6 football team. So don't look like this guy is the real deal every down player. The 49ers like to use multiple running backs to run the ball. Keep them fresh, healthy, situational players, and not having Coleman could hurt them. Got to keep an eye on that. I'm sure they'll compensate and find other things to do, but it doesn't help that Tevin Coleman, their running back, may not be in Super Bowl 54 with that dislocated shoulder. More news around the NFL. Titans defensive coordinator retired after 12 season. Dean Pease is out. He's done. He had enough. Got close to the Super Bowl. Phillip Rivers Looks like more like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the hot team to pick up Phillip Rivers. I mentioned this yesterday when the word came out that he's moving out of California, leaving. And I thought Phillip Rivers would head over to either the Carolina Panthers to go back home to Carolina. But it was mentioned that Florida was a place where he bought a home. Bought a home in Florida. I did not see him going to Miami, but I did mention Tampa Bay because they got a lot of talent. They got a lot of talent there. They got great receivers. They got a good running game. They got Bruce Arians. Could be a really good fit for a couple of years with Bruce Arians, who loves veteran quarterbacks. He likes them. And the two together could be magical for a couple of years. Keep an eye on that. Just remember Carson Palmer with Bruce Arians. Just remember that. So keep your eyes on Phillip Rivers. Could be in Tampa. And I look at it as a good fit, actually. Panthers hired Baylor defensive coordinator Phil Snow as its defensive coordinator. He serves as a defensive coordinator each of the last 3 head coaching stops in Temple, Baylor, and Carolina. He's 64 years old. He's in Carolina. George Paxton, another note, he reports that the Browns could hire Vikings assistant general manager George Paxton, my gosh, Payton, as general manager early this week. And that's going to be it, really, for the biggest news around the NFL. There's more out there. I'm going to look at one more spot, if any. And there's no real big news other than the black hole in Las Vegas will remain in Las Vegas with the Raiders. They're not going to get rid of the black hole in the end zone. They'll have different ways or a different approach to it, but it will remain. So if you're a Raider fan, I guess you're happy. So you like black holes. All right. All right, moving on. Baseball. Talking baseball here on Hanna Time, the sports show. Bringing it to you on YouTube and also bringing it to you on Facebook Live and Global Sports Broadcasting Network.com. This is your host, Cornelius Brad Hanna. Wilson in the house, Antonio in the house, Eddie in the house, Eddie McKee in the house, Lorraine and Michael Butler in the house. Got you. Chaverson, gotcha. All right, let's talk baseball real quick. Let's get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Today, in a few, later on this afternoon, a few more hours to go. Roughly around 3 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Eastern time, 6 p.m., 4 o'clock in the desert, the National Baseball Hall of Fame will announce the results of its 2019 ballot of the Hall of Fame. The induction is July 26th in Cooperstown, New York. Voters may vote no more than 10 candidates on the ballot. So you get to choose 10. The voters, the writers get to choose 10 players to make it to the Hall of Fame. And by then, you have to make a different number. Now you get the top 10 selected. And out of those top 10, which they know already, you have to get 75% to be, you have to get voted. So for every person that votes 10 players, the player needs to get a 75% approval rating to be in the Hall of Fame. Okay? Mariano Rivera last year was voted into the Hall of Fame, and every one of those voters put him on the ballot. He was a unanimous choice. Other players got in, but nobody got everybody's vote. This year, Derek Jeter, high potential again of getting every vote from every voter to be unanimous. You would think he would be unanimous for his career and everything that he put to the game of baseball. But there's always one or two of those weird votes. Other players that came awfully close to being unanimous was Ken Griffey Jr. Three votes short. Tom Seaver, was 5 votes short. The pitcher, former Met, former White Sox, former Cincinnati Red, he was short. Mariano Rivera had probably the most dominating pitch in baseball history. And the most funny thing about all this scandal about the Astros and their cheating and stealing signs, if Mariano Rivera had 2 more years in him, the New York Yankees would have won the World Series. Because the Houston Astros would know what pitch is coming. Because everybody knew what pitch was coming with Mariano Rivera. It was the cutter. So so the Astros had no choice to sit on the cutter, but you still had to hit it. And 99% of them couldn't. So I think it's kind of comical in a lot of ways. But then, the Astros themselves, maybe looking back on Mariano's career, that sign stealing that probably was rampant in many different forms on the field, electronically, through baseball, and finally caught up to the cheaters, that when Mariano did pitch, it didn't matter if you were trying to cheat or not and steal the sign because you knew what pitch Mariano was throwing. You knew it. And that alone makes him the greatest pitcher of all time in my book. Because in the times of what we're dealing with now, of baseball scandalous cheating stuff, people being fired, and fines and suspensions going on, and more to come. And this has, been going on, they say, for the longest time. You get a pitcher up there, and you can't steal his signs because there's only one pitch he throws. How ironic and incredible that is. In the year of a team getting caught, a team getting busted in 2019, because that's when it all started. It was the same year Mariano went into the Hall of Fame unanimously. Today we'll have more people joining Mariano and the others in the Hall of Fame. The announcement later on this afternoon, late afternoon. But I think it's so ironic that Mariano, it just puts more greatness into his book in my eyes, because you still couldn't cheat to figure out what he was throwing. Bottom line. How dominant is that? That you know what's coming and you still can't hit it. And the other pitchers, you're probably stealing their signs and cheating. So for the Astros, you're probably very fortunate that Mariano did not stick around a few more years to shut you down in that 9th inning. That's amazing. It's amazing. All right, more about this cheating, scandalous stuff in baseball. How about former players, or current players, I should say, that are just absolutely upset? I mean, completely upset. Here's Cody Bellinger, Mr. MVP. This guy is baseball great right now, right? He's the current greatness, part of the greatness of baseball. On Twitter, he said, "For sake of the game, I hope this isn't true." But it is, Cody. If true, there needs to be major consequences to the players. That completely ruins the integrity of the game when you cheat like that. Mike Sunshine Clevenger, Cleveland Indians, right? They shouldn't feel comfortable looking at any of us in the eye, let alone on the field, and any of the major league players feeling different. What is he talking about? What he's talking about, the Astro players are going to be very uncomfortable. And baseball has a problem, but justification will be coming that other teams around baseball may not like the fact that these guys were cheating and these ball players knew about it. Clevenger says this: "This is where throwing hard has its I would say MF perks, mother effer perks, okay? So either police the game, Major League Baseball, or it's going to get back onto the field where the players are going to police the game." Warning sign has been sent out. Clemenger's put it out there, but there's other players, other pitchers not happy. Expect Astro batters to get hit if baseball does not take care of it. So the waiting game is on. If players are not suspended, if players are not punished for the cheating part, knowingly they were cheating, then baseball is going to open the door for other players on the field to take things in their own hands. Best part of it is their fans still acting like no big deal. The Astro fans are trying to find justification out of this. You can't. Alex Wood, he's a Dodger. Dodger just signed him. He said, I'd rather face a player that was taking steroids than face a player that knew every pitch was coming. It gets back to Mariano Rivera in a funny way. But the thing is, you get a guy up there who's all bulked up, Barry Bonds kind of guy. But the bottom line is, Barry doesn't know what pitch is coming. You'll still get him out unless he knows what pitch is coming. Evan Longoria. What happened to the team or to the term, cheaters never prosper? Chris Archer, another former Tampa Bay Ray. I'm in the mood. I'm in a mood right now after hearing the latest BS teams have been up to. He's showing the angry sign. He's in an angry mood. This is a pitcher. Don't want to face Chris Archer if you're the Astros. Somebody's going to get hit. There's going to be probably some fights. Marcus Stroman, another Tampa Bay Ray. Now with the Mets, not happy. Pete Alonso, Rookie of the Year, first baseman for the Mets. There's a lot of craziness in baseball world right now. And at the end of the day, we have to do our job on the field and win battles between the lines. Great things are to come this year. The boys will be ready. Talking about his team. Danny Valencia. I like Danny. These reports of cheating from the Astros are next level. What a joke. If it is a fact 100% true, then the World Series in 2017, should be stripped as well as all individual awards. He puts up the Pinocchio signs. Don't blank me, he said. Don't F with me. Danny Valencia. These are former baseball players and current baseball players. And most of them are the current ones. He calls them the Houston Asterix. Tucker Barnhart. Using computers and buzzers is such an entirely new level. Indefensible if you're on the other side of it. This is wild. Miserable for our game. Another ball player speaking up. Pitcher. He's also a pitcher. Here's another one. Ryan Sheriff. So the Tampa Bay Rays don't like it because they lost to the Astros last season in a 5-game series. They lost it in 5 games. He says, what's worse, sign stealing or Pete Rose? I have my opinion. I just want to hear the community itself. Jose Ramirez. First thing, I log in since September, and what did I miss? Took the time off from baseball. He checks in and finds out a mess is happening with the cheating scandal. So the players are not happy with the other players. And this is coming down to player on player. Current players not happy with the Astro players that did this. Jose Altuve is part of it. He denied it. He sidestepped it. Bregman, same thing. Astros player did not admit, just sidestepped it and said Major League Baseball handled it, took care of it, and then we'll move on from there. But the players are not getting anything to them. There's no punishment to players that were involved. And baseball fans and media and players on the field, the current players and the former players of the game, are not happy. The allegations are real. The newest allegations look even worse with the electronic buzzer on their bodies that are notifying them what pitch is coming is serious. This is incredibly serious. Major League Baseball says it's explored wearable devices during the investigation, but found no evidence. But that hasn't stopped the players for taking shots at Altuve and his teammates. That includes an always outspoken Trevor Bauer, pitcher for baseball, former Cleveland Indian, Cincinnati Red. He said this. I've heard this from multiple parties too. For what it's worth. Way too much. They've heard, and he heard that they were wearing devices, buzzers. Then you have the so-called niece of Carlos Beltran, which we believe is not a niece, that is a cover-up, probably a current or former baseball player, or maybe an actual media person who actually witnessed, or somebody on the inside that was in the locker room who was able to take photographs and witness the buzzers, the electronic devices on ball players in the Houston Astros locker room. I want to see the evidence. I'm waiting for it. They say they're going to expose it in time. Let's wait and see. Trevor Bauer continues and wears a T-shirt with a Band-Aid over Houston. You all had to know it was coming. Limited edition, folks. Get yours before it gets suspended from my shop for a year. So the Band-Aid over Houston is a T-shirt that Trevor Bauer is out there. He's not happy. He's pissed off. And he's a little hothead, too. So don't be surprised if he gets his shot to throw at one of these guys. This is a big deal in 2020 for baseball. Pitchers and catchers report. They report, less than 4 weeks. We'll say 4 to 5 weeks. Well, 3 to 4 weeks, I should say. 3 to 4 weeks away, pitchers and catchers will be showing up in spring training. Tommy Pham, former Devil Ray. Again, his team was one game away from eliminating the Astros in that Game 5, where in the first inning, the Tampa Bay Rays pitcher got blown up. They hit the ball. The Astros kept hitting, and before I knew it, the game was over in the first inning in a deciding Game 5. Makes you wonder. Okay? Tommy Pham was not happy. Needless to say, Kevin Gausman, another pitcher, says this is getting good. Getting real good. Getting his popcorn out. A lot of them are pitchers. And that's not a good sign, because I'm sure there's more pitchers around baseball that are just going, all right, so you've been doing this to me? This is how you've been doing it? This is my livelihood? And my numbers, which I'm trying to get a contract, but my numbers could be down or not good because of you? And maybe I'm a bullpen guy who's battling to stay afloat in Major League Baseball. Maybe I'm a situational baseball pitcher who would come in and throw to a couple of batters. But, my life expectancy in Major League Baseball could be a couple of years. I'm fighting to keep myself on a roster in Major League Baseball. And I get my number called. The phone call rings in the bullpen, and I got to get out there and get on that pitcher's mound in a big moment, in a big part of the game, do my job, and I get lit up, or I don't do my job. And now I come to find out, because when I pitched against you, the Houston Astros, you were stealing my signs and you knew what pitch was coming. My livelihood was now in jeopardy because of you. My next contract may not be as good because my numbers should be better or could be better. That's where also it affects ball players in the pocket. And if baseball's players union gets involved and tries to protect those players or the Houston Astros, they got a problem coming. they'll have a big problem because then the other players are going to complain about what about us? We're the one being affected. Our numbers should be better or could be better. And you're just going to take a small group in this conspiracy group and you're going to support them. So the baseball union probably won't be supporting any Astro players if they look for help. If they do, they're going to get it. Telling you, man, this is going to be a huge, huge problem within the union of the ball players. Because the majority of them or all of them are not going to be happy if the leadership of the baseball union tries to support the Astros. I am sure by now the union is looking on a way to do both. Good luck with that. It won't go well. This is one of those where you just have to just protect the majority of your players in the union and say, guys, in the Astros, you screwed up. You're on your own on that one. We can't help you there. That's my take on that one, too. More comments coming in before we close out the show. I appreciate it here on YouTube and Facebook Live and Global Sports Broadcasting Network. David Lorber says, good morning, everyone. Hey, David. Dana in the house. Dwayne in the house. Wilson Valente in the house. Antonio. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you for popping in. And I appreciate the show for you today. More news, more Super Bowl stuff coming on Wednesday. It is 2 weeks of Super Bowl coverage. A lot more coming. We're just waiting for more stories. It's going to get hotter and bigger as the week goes on, and next week it gets even more, and we'll get more people involved. We'll have a few guests on the show breaking down the Super Bowl. That'll be fun. That'll be fun to have. But from there, we're going to wrap it up. We've been through it. No big news. Baseball has no big news as of right now. Just looking one more last time, folks. One more last time, if you can. That's it. All right, Major League Baseball, pay attention to the Hall of Fame vote coming in later on today. We'll be back on a Hump Day Wednesday. Here's a happy Tuesday. Go get your taco on and whatever taco you like to eat. Enjoy yourselves on a Tuesday, folks. This is Hanna Time on Global Sports Broadcasting Network. YouTube, thank you for popping in, everybody. Appreciate it. Love you. Facebook people, love you too. And Global Sports Broadcasting Network.com live stream, we thank you so much. And we're going to see you on a Hump Day Wednesday tomorrow, right here on Hanna Time. Cornelius Brad Hanna saying, we'll see you then. All right, YouTube, we'll see you guys.